This is a conversation about sleep, porn, lust, mental and physical well-being.
Hi, you are listening to Rocklaz Radio,
A podcast discussing inspiring personalities and interesting things. This is your host, Tanmay Shah.
Tanmay is an India-based NFT artist and an entrepreneur with diverse business experience.
This podcast is self-sponsored.
The best way to support this show is to buy his art, NFTs. You can also become his patron. Kindly share this episode on socials and with your friends.
Welcome to another episode of Rocklaz Radio. On today's episode, we have with us Dinesh Ghodke. He is from the well-known duo of Baba and Dinesh of Art of Living. They are teachers of meditation, prolific speakers, best-selling authors, alternative healers, and personal coaches. They have been teaching the Art of Living series of courses for more than 2 decades across the world. They have been invited to speak for various national and international forums, at corporate houses and educational institutes, and have given numerous TEDx talks. Their books Ready, Steady, Go, Smart Ways to Learn, and Happiness Express, A Journey to Everyday Well-Being together has sold more than 1 lakh copies worldwide. Both are available as audiobooks. Ready, Steady, Go has been translated into Hindi, Tamil, and Bulgarian. Translation of Happiness Express are stalled to release soon. Well-being and fitness through alternative healing modulations are their big passions. They created the flagship program of Sri Center for Healing Arts to train craniosacral therapy practitioners. They have explored meridian healing of Marma therapy. They have been making videos on YouTube channel called B&D TV for more than a decade. Some of these videos have reached millions of views. Their other interests include ancient India, the cultural heritage, traditions, history of India, food, travel, technology, gaming, books, being in nature, and caring for the environment. Dinesh Bhaiya, welcome to the show. Dinesh Bhaiya, I remember the moment I first met you. I came to the ashram in 2014. I didn't know you. I was very new to Art of Living. I didn't know about anybody. You're the first person. You came near the Guruji Secretariat office. You kept your hand on my shoulder and just smiled at me. And you asked me something, and I just felt so good. I was smiling for no reason. I was just feeling so happy when you did that. So without no reason, two people are meeting and so happy just to be there. I can never forget that moment. So I would like to ask you, like Guruji asked everybody, are you happy?
So what do you think?
Of course. So how has been your year? What I'm just feeling a bit nervous to be talking to you and on this podcast. So you have been very busy. So let us talk about your book, Sleep Your Way Through Success. So can you tell a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. First of all, like you said, it has been busy, and we used to have a motto in the Yes Plus program: happy being busy, busy being happy. So that has been the last couple of years, though pandemic struck. But online, there were so many interventions, reaching out to people all over the world through meditations, through fitness, through wisdom, through whatever they required, to handle their mind, to handle their time. And that was quite fulfilling. So our third book, first book has been Sleep, for students, mostly for students, but for learning. for using our brains, for using our body optimally. It was called Ready, Study, Go. The second book was Happiness Express, where people asked us, how do you manage to stay happy, be happy and stay happy? So we've answered that in our book. And the latest one, which has also become quite a bestseller, is Sleep Your Way to Success. Using sleep, which is nature's gift to us, using sleep to reach to success in anything that we do, whether it is on the spiritual path, whether it is you want to meditate better, you need to sleep better. At the same time, you want to be successful in your career, in your studies as a student, or you want to do good business decisions, you want to feel healthier, happier, younger, sexier. All of this can be achieved via sleep. So we have mentioned about all those aspects, how to make your sleep not just, more. Nowadays, one of the biggest problems our world is facing is the problem of sleep deprivation. For millions of years, we have slept 8, 9 hours. And the world average now is something close to 6 hours. So our bodies are not able to handle what nature has done for millions of years. It has it has taken so long to create this system, and it has its rules. And since we are not following that, then it is not leading to optimal health or happiness. So we have elucidated all that, how to sleep, not just more, but also the quality of sleep, how we can make it much more deeper, and to get out the maximum out of sleep, out of a shut eye.
So can you share a couple of tips so that it increases curiosity for the book?
So the first thing is what we say, ban white light. I'm not sure whether you're having white light or is it a yellow light there. But again, as through the millennia, what we have seen after sundown is only the light of fire or maybe starlight. So we have only seen yellow or amber or orange hues. But white light and blue light, what it does is it does not allow the brain to perceive that night has arrived. So the pineal gland does not start the production of melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. So our sleep gets delayed. So while we are supposed to start feeling sleepy at, let's say, 9:30, 10, every 3 hours of white light exposure, actually every 2 hours of white light exposure reduces the melatonin production, stops the melatonin productions for half an hour more. So that much late we start feeling sleepy, and then it creates related problems on our liver, on the kidneys, on the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis, which is the stress axis. It screws up the digestion. The leptin and ghrelin, the hormones, they go out of sync, out of balance. So a host of problems come in because of this. So we need to shut, or rather ban, white light after sundown. So whatever fixtures we have, white lights at home or in office, need to change to warm yellow or yellow. Even our screens, because we look so much into our screens, laptops and phones, that the settings can be changed to warm yellow after sundown.
Yellow. About sleep, there is the concept of circadian rhythm. So if we sleep, there are people, we are all globally interconnected, and we are 12 hours ahead of US, and because of some reasons, people have to match their sleep schedule to the other countries or other time zones. So is it okay to be awake at night and maybe sleep in the early morning if they maintain a 8-hour sleep schedule at those consistent timings throughout? What do you think?
The simple answer is no. if you have a job which forces you to do that, then you need to just chuck the job, because in the long run, it's not going to help you. Your bills, whatever money that you're getting from the job, will end up into hospital bills and, to fix yourself. So, in fact, even the World Health Organization has said that night shifts are carcinogenic. They are
Oh my
cancer
God.
producing. They are a huge health hazard. So, having said that, there are certain like group of people, let's say first responders, doctors, or nurses, who have to have their night shifts. Then for them, it is recommended that you have dark curtains in your house, and so whatever, in the night you stay awake, but when you go home, then at least you mimic that circadian rhythm, so that it's not really the best of options, because we are connected with the sun, the movement of the sun, and we are also very closely connected with uh, the the movements of the moon, but as you know option to minimize the damage that this can cause, you can have dark curtains, you come home, you sleep, you maintain that 8 hours of sleep. That would be good.
People call themselves night owls, and they feel that they're more comfortable like that. So, what do you think about them?
I would say it is a lot about habiting yourself, how we are creatures of habit and habitat. So the more we train our minds, our bodies, that's how the bodies will respond, more or less. Okay. So the concept of night owls or larks doesn't extend so much. Yeah. Maybe an hour or two, it will go further or behind. Like especially teenagers, their sleep cycles, they will sleep little later and wake up later, or there are some people who will sleep early, like my parents. They will be off at 9:30, and they'll wake up at 4 o'clock,
Oh.
4:30. So and most people will fall somewhere in the middle. Yeah. But stretching it too much, like sleeping every night at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that will create a lot of ill health and accumulation of toxins and brain fog, so we become dumber, we become older, we become uglier if we don't follow sleep times or sleep hygiene. But if we follow it, then we become smarter, we become healthier, we become sexier, younger.
What is the ideal time for you, according to you, for sleeping?
Ideal time is about 10 to 10:30, because that's when the liver detox starts happening. See, all organs have their time. Like we talked about the circadian rhythm, there is a rhythm in every cell of our body. Yeah. So 37 trillion cells on an average, let's say, we would be having. Each of them has a internal clock, and it works according to that. So the more we keep it out of sync, the more stress, we bring stress onto the cell, its functioning goes out of sync. So 10:30 would be ideal.
So 10 to 6 or
Yes.
11 to 7, sort of.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to now talk about lust and porn during the COVID lockdown time, or youth, with porn being accessible so easily, and we are animals of I mean, there is some that emotion controls us many of the times. So but that also causes a lot of foggy mind afterwards. There's lack of clarity, and it is sort of an epidemic, but not much talked about. So youth start getting into it. It's as, I think, as bad as drugs, because it also gets into addiction. So what are your views on current status of this problem, and how do we overcome that at individual level and as well as at the social level?
Yeah. So any addiction, not just porn, any addiction is linked to dopamine. And you rightly said, we are in an age of addiction, whether it is addictions for gaming, video games, addictions for social media, uh, the addictions to our phones or Netflix, or just watching something, eating something all the time, or porn, or smoking, drinking, drugs. Any addiction is linked to a hormone in the body called dopamine. It is the reward hormone. So suppose you put something on Insta, and every 20 minutes, half an hour, you'll go and check, okay, how many people have liked this, how many people have put hearts on this or shared this, or, so, and whenever you see it, there's a small dopamine that is released because it's the reward hormone. We have written in our book, Sleep Your Way to Success, how you can dance with dopamine. You can use your body's biochemistry to your advantage rather than fall prey to it. So how you can use the dopamine to achieve more success, to get your work done. So I'll give you a simple example. Let's say you have to finish studying a big, huge chapter. Now, it's a huge chapter already. Just thinking about it, it drains us out. Oh, I have to finish like these 30 pages. So what to do? You break your chapters into, let's say, 10 modules, 12 modules. And that is simple. That is just 2 pages, right? 3 pages. So you complete that. Then what happens? A tick mark happens. Okay, this is done. Yeah, one thing done in the to-do list. That gives you a dopamine high. So that gives you the energy to go on for more. No? And that's how we need to break a bigger task into small bites, small chunks, and celebrate your victory, celebrate completion of that, and then move on. Same with porn also. Why does it happen when the prana or the energy is so low? We don't find gratification in doing bigger things. We want an instant fix or an instant high. So you just watch for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Of course, it doesn't stop there. Then you just, keep on going. Every available, window, suddenly you will somehow get to it. And so then that becomes an addiction. This cycle of that dopamine, and with the unawareness that we let ourselves get into, and then the whole cycle just continues. So
what I've observed is
this is simple. You take up more challenges. Yeah, take up more creative challenges. All right. Second is, so that dopamine high is much more than just wanting to sit and watch something. Secondly, when somebody masturbates or has an orgasm, or just gives into all of that, then that can also be quite draining for the physical system. Nobody after having sex or masturbation feel like, okay, come on now, let me get onto the football field and play a solid game. No, it doesn't happen. You just want to shut everything and be lost to the world, right? So it is quite draining for physically also, not just mentally, physically also for the system. That is where, when we channel that energy, direct it towards some more creative pursuits, creative challenges, then that lust doesn't bother us so much. And of course, yoga, pranayama, meditation are phenomenal ways so that it does not trouble us. See, not labeling it as bad or dirty. Then we go into another cycle altogether. Then there is the thrill of the forbidden, and then there is, or when you get into it, then there is so much of guilt that weighs over your mind. All that is not necessary. It's a very natural phenomenon. Nature has put it into us because, our species can continue, right? But at the same time, when it bogs us down, when normal functioning of life doesn't happen, the standard of life itself, the quality of life itself goes down, then that is a problem. Yeah. And uh, things like the Sudarshan Kriya or meditation, pranayam, yoga, they are fabulous ways to break this cycle and celebrate life, enjoy life to its fullest.
Oh, so yeah, thanks for that. What I've observed is in two situations, when you're prana or when you're actually physically feeling very low or tired, that is an impulse to get a quick dopamine with porn and masturbation. Second is something you see online on social media that visually stimulates you. So, what are the quick things that can be done at these two moments to just to avoid that? And
I used to give a solution. Just slowly you can remove your clothes, get yourself absolutely nude, go in the bathroom, put on a cold water shower, and that can fix everything, because the cold water shower can bring the prana levels up instantly. That can help. In the long run, a little longer run, having control over food can help a lot. Moderation in food can help a lot. Intense exercise can help a lot. You just go run for 5 kilometers, do 108 Surya Namaskars, or something like that. Then the whole energy shifts and it will move from the sex chakra to other places where it can be utilized more usefully.
Awesome. That's a great idea. As you talked about channelizing, there's a concept about sex transmutation. I had read it in the book of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So channelizing this feeling for sex and lust into some more productive or creative endeavors. So how does one do that? How does one channelize that energy?
Just having more creative things to do, having a hobby like something to do with music. It could be playing the piano, playing the tabla, playing a guitar, something like that. Having a sport that you really enjoy, then engaging in that, or taking up some responsibility. Let's say being part of your housing complex cleanup, segregating the garbage, some bigger bigger task, or a visionary, what do you say, visionary work that you undertake, that can direct all this, this wanting to get stuck in small little things into something bigger than yourself. Having a good group also helps. Good group of friends who are not just wanting to sit in a room, watch something, or no, you go for trekking or mountaineering. You play some, game of soccer or badminton or something like that. That can also help a lot.
Amazing. And next question would be related to that, about marriage and relationships. So this day and time, people are, the age of marrying, I think it's moving ahead, like 25, 30 or even beyond. So what are your views on when to marry and how to find a good match, or what are your views on that?
So it is said the first 7 years of our life is for mental development. The how much we take in from the world, how much we learn the languages and all about the world. What we learn in the first 7 years is way more than what we learn thereafter in life. The first 7 years is of mental growth. The next 7 years is of physical growth. There are a lot of changes happening. Puberty hits you, hormonal changes are happening, your body is growing, and the next 7 years after that is for emotional development. So at the age of around 21, a person is emotionally, physically ready for being into a relationship, or what our ancient people said, first 25 years was, brahmacharya ashram, where you learn about life, you learn about the things that you are going to use, all the skills, all the wisdom that you will use for the rest of your life. Then was grihasthashram. So 25 to 50 was the time when you have a life partner, you have a companion, you have a family and all that. And then you give it back, vanaprastha, sannyasa. So that would be one way of understanding how either 21, 25 would be a good age if somebody wants to get married. And then, yeah.
And what about finding a proper partner, or how does one find?
So I would say that if it's only based on attraction, that doesn't last long. You look at someone and you go, oh my God, this person is gorgeous, so attractive. Now, if the relationship is based only on looks, only on that attractive quotient, then it doesn't last long, because the tendency of the mind is to get bored. The mind has a variety need. It likes new and newer things. So that's why so many marriages in Bollywood, Hollywood, we say, oh, match made in heaven. These are the most handsome guy and the most beautiful actress. And a few years down the line, you see, okay, they have divorced, gone into a very bitter divorce or something. And so it cannot be only on looks. There has to be something deeper. So if there is not just physical compatibility, but also emotional compatibility, also intellectual compatibility, can you sit together and have a normal, stimulating, exciting conversation for half an hour, for 1 hour? Or you are so intellectually incompatible that you cannot even carry out a conversation? Then after a few years, that becomes, it is quite difficult to be with each other, because nothing to talk about, what to do. So it needs to have intellectual compatibility, emotional compatibility, physical compatibility, also a spiritual compatibility, our outlook towards life. Are there some bigger goals or visions? When all these match, then that relationship has a much higher probability of lasting longer, being more useful and useful and conducive for each other and for everybody around them. So having big life goals also are important. If they're only focused on each other, then it becomes like, two lines crisscrossing. At some points you will feel, oh yes, this is the ultimate person for me. And most of the times you'll feel, I don't know what I got into. So if we want to move together like the tracks of a railway, then we need to have a bigger vision to life also.
Most of us are behind the screens these days, and there are a lot of matchmaking websites and apps. So there are other options, are relatives to getting some matches or something. So what are, for the first kind of interaction, what do you think is the way of getting there?
Yes, by communicating. Yeah, all these things are there, these platforms or avenues to get two people together, whether it is relatives, parents, apps. So these can get you together, but once you're together, you need to communicate. Yeah, all these things. Find out about the physical, intellectual compatibility, the spiritual compatibility, our life goals, our visions, do they match? And then you can take things forward.
Many a time people try to postpone the marriage or relationship. They are like, you want to get successful in the career first and then think about the marriage later on. So what are your thoughts on that?
There is no end to that. If you find a good partner, you can help each other get good at the career. So as I said, the grihasthashram is both, being good into your, getting stronger into your career, at the same time into a married life, being with a person, companion, helping each other, growing or supporting each other's strengths to going ahead in life.
Okay. And suppose people think that, okay, I'm happy with myself, I don't really need additional burden. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely fine. So there is no fixed thing that you have to get married or you have to stay alone, to succeed. You can be happy, you can be successful either ways. And we have enough and more examples around us. People who are married and unhappy, people who are unmarried and unhappy. There are some examples, people who are married and happy, and people who are alone, single, and they are still happy. So we have all sorts of examples. It is up to us how we can, be successful and be happy.
The time for a joke. Why does the yogi travel with no luggage?
Because he doesn't want attachments.
Yeah, exactly. Because he has no attachments.
No attachments.
Yes. So now talking about yourself personally, what gets you excited about the future?
The fact that there is so much of need for coming together, so much of need to get rid of the stresses that have started coming in through so many different avenues because of our lifestyles. So if people are empowered with life wisdom, with life skills, people are empowered with techniques like the Sudarshan Kriya or the Sahat Samadhi meditation, where they can easily wash off their stresses and tensions, then it would be so wonderful to see a happier, healthier planet, where so many more people are smiling, helping others, all the values of life, they are being followed. And that is what excites me, really, to see a world where there are more smiles, less stress, more celebration of life.
Guruji always asks us to ask a question, who am I? So what was the recent answer when you asked this to yourself?
Yeah, I've been asking this 28 years now. And the answers keep changing, growing. And so many times I have hit I don't know, and or just silence. Who am I? Just that question itself takes me within, take me deeper. Sometimes even there is no need for an answer also to come. Yeah. But the question itself is a vehicle to go within. And that's what, Kabir Das ji, he did. He just asked himself, who am I? Ko hum, who am I? Yeah. And with that, he got out so much knowledge.
Wow. So I would also advise the listeners to ask this to themselves and try it out. So, Bhaiya, another question. When you ask yourself, what is your purpose? What comes out? Or have you come to a purpose, or even that is in progress?
That is clear, to increase the happiness, to reduce the sadness, to increase the dharma, the values that are there in the society, and in whatever means to finish off the adharma. So yeah, these are what my life goals are. With
So,
our book also, it was that we want to create this a mission to have like 1 million people able to harness the power of good sleep, along with, of course, meditation, along with Sudarshan Kriya, to also harness the power of good sleep so that they can enjoy success in their lives in whatever they are doing.
Absolutely. You have taught around the world since so many years. What was the main question that you came across, or that you think should be addressed, and what is the main majority? What was the main problem that you heard from people that you think should be taken care of?
Yeah, it's basically how to be healthy, how to be happy. I'm in this relationship, I'm in that relationship, or how to handle my boss. So it all boils down to how do I handle my own mind? If I can handle my mind, I can handle the mind of my significant other, my children, my colleagues at work, you know. So it is just this, you know, how do we handle ourselves? If we can learn that, yeah, then we can win over the world.
Amazing. You have got to be in Guruji's presence for such a long time. What is what is a thought that always stays with you, or that comes to your mind right now when I ask you the question that impacted you the most?
Well, Gurudev's way of looking at everything with such lightness, with the sparkle of knowledge behind it, with that depth, yet with the simplicity. That is what is called Guru Dev, having that depth of wisdom and yet the innocence of a child, the simplicity, the playfulness of and that is an enlightened master. That is what is Gurudev. And whenever I think of him or think of the things that he has done or being with him, that energy or that feeling comes up so strongly.
Yeah, I was lucky to experience that. I mean, in the presence, you get a different feeling. I think with so much of self inquiry and meditation and the practices, or that aura, or the thing just happens.
Yeah.
So we have less than a minute. What thought would you like to conclude this with?
I would just say, smile and make others smile. Yeah. And finding new and newer ways of doing that would make our planet a much better place to be in, to live in.
Find a way of making others smile. Okay. Thank you so much, Bhaiya. Looking forward to a new topic another day from questions that come up with our listeners. Hope we can do that soon. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Tanmay.
Thanks for tuning in. Connect with me on Twitter and Instagram to get updates on the new shows and to participate on live recordings. All links are mentioned in the show notes. We will be back next week with another fantastic episode.